And now a feature that I'm particularly proud of. This is a new Park Avenue Produce series that I conceived, directed, and edited, entitled Women in Command. I'd like to express a very special personal thanks to Ms. Tani Freiwald, who helped me to co-produce this series. And before I turn you over to Ms. Freiwald for our first interview, I'd like to share with you a statement that she wrote concerning our hopes for the future of this series. The last 10 years have seen significant changes in working Nebraskans. More and more women are climbing the corporate ladder, competing in political arenas, and tackling non-traditional careers. Over the next few months, Park Avenue Produce will talk with some of these women to determine what skills and personal values have been most useful to them in their rise to power. So join us now as Park Avenue Produce presents Women in Command.
I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska to spend a couple of days talking with Kendra Hahn. After receiving her Bachelor of Arts in English from Nebraska's Wesleyan, Kendra worked for a very brief time as secretary and then became news clerk for the Lincoln Journal. From her vantage point in the media, she was introduced to political life, and in 1974, she took a big risk. She quit her job at the Journal, ran for political office, and was elected clerk of district court, where she served for 7.5 years.
Hey, dirty laundry got you down. Well, let me tell you what I told my sleepy neighbor in the laundry room early one morning.
Oh, I see it's laundry time for you too, huh?
I hate doing laundry. What are you watching? Space Shuttle?
Oh, yeah, as soon as the game's over. Wow, who'd have thought science could take us from transistors to space shuttles and in our own lifetime yet?
You think with all that space-age knowledge, they could come up with something to get my whites and brights clean.
Oh, I know what you mean. I used to hate to do laundry. I tried new improved this and super improved that. And some of them soaps got so many ingredients in them. Wow, I got allergies from all the chemicals.
Just as the Cornhuskers was about to score a touchdown, the TV goes on the blink, so I goes over and tries a little fine-tuning. Bob, my neighbor, he's still only worried about his dirty clothes, so I says
Now,
to him...
the space scientific research laboratories have improved their technology to bring us new atomic blast.
Atomic blast?
Yeah, I first read about it in Best Upkeep magazine. Hey, this is an undeclared war on your dirty laundry.
So how does it work?
Well, it's like this. You see, atomic blast gives your laundry a blast of atomic energy, and that speeds up the agitation of your agitator.
Oh, I could use some extra motion on these washers. They only wash for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and rinse and spin for 25.
So, then we get down to the nitty-gritty. He shows me this shirt. I mean, covered in blood. I says to him, hey, how'd you get this shirt so bloody? It's disgusting. Ugh. He says, are you ready for this? He don't remember. A likely story. I says, you want to get that shirt sparkling white? All you got to do is dump a little atomic blast into your washer. Then cram all that filthy, dirty, disgusting problem laundry into your machine and forget it. So he does. Later, that same morning.
Well, my whites and brights are cleaner, but I think we're going to have to fix the washer.
Atomic blast. An undeclared war on your dirty laundry.
Five, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, this is your moderator, Ben Ziola, and today we're talking with Tani Freiwald about Park Avenue Produce and her first introduction to it. Good evening, Ms. Freiwald.
Hello, Ben.
And welcome to our show.
Thanks, I'm delighted to be here.
We could see by this lovely mural that you had commissioned that there's practically the history of Park Avenue Produce right on your wall.
Certainly is.
part of your first involvement.
Mm-hmm. That would be Fred Van Housen as Fritzie the Maid in Contemporary Living.
The late, great Fred Van Housen.
Yeah. I had been working, I'd been working at the Upstairs Dinner Theater for maybe a month, not longer than that. And I was approached by Wes and asked, Wes as Sunny Branch in Cheaton Hart. I was approached and told that they were shooting a little movie on Sunday and they would like me to play a role. And at the time, Wes intimidated me beyond words. He terrified me. I thought he was, and I still do to all extent, thought he was the most amazing talent I'd ever seen in my life. And he was big, and he was confident, and you know, I would later find out that was all a facade, but at the time it really impressed me.
Well constructed
facade. Yes, yeah. And I couldn't have said no for fear of upsetting him, so I was actually, you know, that was my first. I met Fred as Fritzie there.
Fred played Fritzie, the Danish maid, in 8mm film Contemporary Living, 1979. So that's where you jumped in, and you jumped in with both feet. Because we had you all glammed up, and then after those shots, Wes trolled on some stuff. What did he put on your face?
It was the same stuff that Soup de Blue Goo was made out of.
What, cream of wheat?
Oatmeal, cream of wheat, blue food coloring.
Oh, the oatmeal, yes.
Yeah, mostly oatmeal, but yeah. Yeah, it was actually the exact same mixture that we'd been eating
and when
earlier.
you let it harden, then you film it
I was the special effects in Contemporary.
Oh yes, very effective, very effective. We were trying to emphasize the passage of time.
I was absolutely terrified. I thought these guys had been doing this forever, and I've never done this before, and how can I possibly live up to any expectations? I was terrified.
It was pretty new to us. We'd all just gotten our...
You seem like you've been doing it. I suppose that's the fact that you've known each other for so long.
Partly, yeah, since high school.
Yeah.
Can you find the hidden objects in this picture? Gee whiz, I hate waiting for the doctor. You know it. That copy of Jack and Jill is older than we are. I'll show you mine if you give me your lunch money. Says grade school call girl. Oh, my.
Disgusting. Kitty porno has been done to death.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Shut up! Here comes the doctor. Doctor! We've got a problem!
This looks serious. Undress over there, please.
But doctor, Daddy wants Mommy to get a lobotomy. It's driving him to drink.
Well, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
But doctor, Mommy needs a lobotomy.
Don't bother me. That asks a lot of me.
What's the dichotomy, doctor? What?
A gynecologist would take a lot of risk at such a long-distance lobotomy. I know you girls want treatment. I can tell you're pretty sick.
That's right, but we need treatment. We need it pretty quick. Not that quick, remember, I am sick. Your doctor treat me real good.
My talent is a gift to girlies of the globe.
That is so.
I should know.
I need it quick. Oh God, I'm also sick. I need it quick.
So let's play doctor.
Let's play doctor.
Let's pretend it's so.
Let's play doctor.
Let's play doctor.
Doctor, here we go.
Don't tell Mama. She don't need to know.
Let's play doctor just for show.
Oh, don't tell Mama. Let's play doctor just for show. have a fairy godmother?
No, but we have an uncle we're not too sure about.
Nurse, what seems to be the problem?
Doctor, I think I'm pregnant.
Who's the father?
I don't know. My parents never let me go steady.
Nurse, do you know any sex poetry?
Yes, doctor. There once was a girl from Boston, Mass. She went into the water up to her ankles.
That doesn't rhyme.
Oh, it will when the tide comes in. But, doctor, I need something for my nose.
A paper sack? Perhaps a hose?
It's our duty to give me beauty, don't you see?
How about a hemorrhoid? I have those.
Oh, it hurts so, don't you know? It hurts me so right here.
I'm only here to help you. Let me ease the pain. It's plain to see irony in all this grope and probing. If you want pain to end, you'll have to show me where it.
Right here it hurts, right here. Oh, dear doctor, treat me real good.
Just as I should. So let's play doctor.
Let's play doctor, let's pretend it's so. Let's play doctor.
Let's play doctor.
Here we go.
Don't tell mama. She don't need to know.
Let's play doctor.
That was the bleed over from stage to video.
That's right.
And that happened just about the time that I came into the Park Avenue Produce family. Right, public access television came to the Midwest long before it was on either of the coasts, and they did all their experimentation. And in those days, when a cable company wanted to wire a city, they had to get permission from the city to do it, and there were contracts negotiated. And as part of the negotiation for Cox Cable in Omaha, Nebraska, they had a very generous public access element to it. So we had access to, for free, not just like public access is today, but it was new in Omaha at the time. We had access to their production facilities and their stages, which we thought we were going to need until Wes was contacted by United Methodist Ministries. Elizabeth Beams, Wes's father was a Methodist minister in Nebraska, Lincoln, and Omaha. And United Methodist Ministries media headquarters were in Omaha, and they were really close to Wes's apartment at the time. And through his connection with his father, he was interviewed by the director, Elizabeth Beams, and gave them to believe that he had all this experience in video because we'd been down to the Cox Cable studio once or twice. And we were contracted to do a video that they were going to show at their annual presentation that was supposed to be a reflection of a monetary program that they had going. We were supposed to go out and show all the good things that this program was doing. And as a result of that, we had access to video cameras, editing equipment. They had a pretty nice setup, and we were able to produce all of the PAP shows.
Without having to go to the public access studio
right,
itself.
So we wound up showing them on public access, but we never had to use the public
Well,
access.
because you had to schedule public access time,
Right.
editing time, and this way we could stay up all night.
Oh, and we did. We all had
edit.
day jobs, and we were up all night editing. And oh, when I think about how raw we were in the early days of editing, oh my goodness.
Just watch the tapes and
Yeah.
just can tell.
And yeah, speaking of all night, one of the most amazing nights. The production studio was on the second floor of this of the United Methodist Ministries building, and we had access to the fire escape in the back, which we use frequently for all sorts of things when we needed a little break. And I remember one night I was out on the fire escape. It must have been about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I looked up, and there was the moon, enormous. It was the classic, iconic moonshot. And I ran back into the production studio, and I go, grab the cameras, we gotta shoot the moon, we gotta shoot the moon. And we ran outside, we shot the moon. We used that footage over and over and over
Private
again.
stock footage.
Great. I love that moonshot.
That was a highlight of the show, definitely, because that included some other people that have passed on that we might like to mention.
Oh, well, yeah, speaking of that moonshot was originally used in I Married an Alien, which was written, directed, and starred Stephen William Whittles.
We'll cut away to a shot of that.
Yeah, we used it right.
He was on the peripheral of Park Avenue Produce.
Oh boy, he was a bad boy on the peripheral, wasn't he? Yeah.
But that was part of our sort of part of our code, is to bring people in that weren't naturally affiliated with show business.
Yeah.
We've asked Mr. Grady Quinn of Omaha, Nebraska, to help us test new improved pain end. Just watch.
Ouch! Oh, stop! Oh, no!
And now, new improved pain end. Not 500, not 1,000, but more than 1,500 ingredients in this one tablet. Try it. And it gives fast relief.
Eat it!
Minutes later...
Oh, hi, Mom. Oh, not much. How about you? Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to be on television. Yeah, and I'm getting paid for it.
Pain end. Try it. You won't care who hits you.
Oh, and Mom, I think I'm in love.
We were still doing stage productions, and we were doing events. Yeah, we were, and I look back and think that was like a 2, maybe 3 year period of time.
That's all it was.
And that's all it was, and we produced a mammoth amount of product.
But we packed 10 shows into that.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the stage work that everybody was doing at the same time. Wes was working at the Children's Theater also. Was he working there at that time?
Oh yeah, Wes was a steady
too.
gig at the Children's Theater.
Yep, I was too. I almost forgot.
Yeah, we used that equipment. Oh, and we had more primitive editing facilities at the Emmy Gifford in the projection.
Oh, that came later when you started videotaping all their shows.
Right.
But that was a jumping off from the work for the Methodists.
For the Methodists.
Yes.
Let justice roll.
Shout out for the Methodists.
Yeah, let justice roll with it. Well, I'll finish the Methodist story because it is rather interesting, and it was a huge learning curve for us. We went out and we shot and we talked to the people that this program. It was a program where they were distributing wealth from the richer ministries, the churches, to the poor folk, and we were supposed to go out and show how this was such a great deal. And we found, as we were doing this, people were so honest with us, and we found out there was corruption, and funds weren't going where they were supposed to be going, and there was all this stuff going on. So we put together a video that identified the program as what was happening to it, because no one had told us they wanted a slant. They just said, we want to see how this program is doing. Well, we showed it to them and they were appalled, and they said, no, we want this program to be reinstated, so we want you to go back and re-edit everything.
Make it look happier.
Yeah, make it look like it's working. And we found out we didn't have to shoot a single extra footage to do that. All we had to do was go back into the editing room and re-edit it, and that was like, wow. We kind of knew that. I mean, we were all television savvy and media savvy, but to experience it for the first time, the power that we had, that we could take anything and make it look like whatever we wanted to, was a little intoxicating.
Needs of people. There's no convenient steeple amid the So many problems we can't ignore, the hopeless cries that we've heard before. Whether the spirit or pocket is poor, we gotta do what we can. Don't you see it's in God's plan? Together, think of the things the choir sings together. So convenient weather. Politics and thunder stick together. So many problems we can't ignore, the hopeless cries that we've heard before. Some has been done, but we've gotta do more. Working together we can. Don't you see it's in God's plan? Let justice roll down like the water. Let justice roll down across the land. Let justice roll down like the water. Let justice roll down across the land. The answer, working it needs, the struggling breeds the answer. There's no convenient answer. We can't forget the tears and sweat our answers. We're facing problems we can't ignore, the hopeless cries that we've heard before. Whether the spirit or pocket is poor, we gotta do what we can. Don't you see it's in God's plan? For when I was hungry, you gave me food and satisfied my thirst. And when I was forlorn and naked, you got clothes and put me first. Whether I was in prison or sick in bed, you visited me. When you did it for the least of these, my friends, you did it to me. You did it for me. Let justice roll down like the water. Let justice roll down across the land. Let justice roll down like the water. Let justice roll down across the land. Christian, we cannot make light of living a life that's Christian. There's no convenient Christian. The more we give, the more we live as Christians. We're facing problems we can't ignore, the hopeless cries that we've heard before. Some has been done, but we've gotta do more. Working together we can. Don't you see it's in God's plan? For people are hungry in need of food, and we must quench their thirst. And people are poor and naked who need clothes we can disperse. There are people in prison and sick in bed in need of our love. And in answer to the call of God, we go to people with love. We give them let justice roll. Let justice roll. Let justice roll.
We want you to meet the Wiggles. We want you to meet the Wiggles. We want you to meet the Wiggles. We want you.
Oh, yes, my dear. My favorite Missouri River water and Kiddo Luft's bathroom bowl and towel cleanser. Ah! Okay, Mr. Wango.
You know, ladies, after a long day of mass murders, glamorous funerals, and unnatural disasters, the last thing I want to do is get on my hands and knees and clean out the bathroom bowl. So I don't. But if you're not woman enough to take the disgusting stains and smells that linger in your bathroom, try new Piddle-Lust bathroom bowl and tile cleanser. No mussing or flushing, no brushing or flushing. It's easy as sin. Just drop it right in and forget. Trust with love. Bathroom bowl, tile cleanser. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, my dear.
Well, Dacron Daddy was originally written for Morte Moncourt.
It was written for me.
Yes, it was. It was specifically written for you. And the big Dacron Daddy costume was for the stage, and you performed it originally. So,
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I was on steroids.
No, you weren't. It was a costume.
Well, I am now.
Yeah, I know you are now. Oh, that's natural. Yeah.
Go on.
That's good. We had a tradition of recycling long before recycling was considered a good thing to do. We recycled all of our material from stage to film to video and back and forth, and the lines always get blurred, and Ben and I were talking and trying to figure out the sequence of things, and it was really difficult because we've done so many bits and pieces in different venues and under different formats. But Dacron Daddy eventually for Park Avenue Produce for the television show was our big music video, and it was my first directing job. I know you visited the park that they were.
I didn't. He did.
Right. That they were.
I was there with Dennis. You'll see it in the video.
Right. That they. There was a park that they were renovating, and
the gash.
That's what we called it, the gash, because it was pretty much just a big gash of dirt with a little river running through it. And they had one bridge that was probably a football length away from the area where we wanted to shoot, and it was the only vantage point, and it was hard shouting distance. And we only had music on a little boom box. And the poor Lori Parker, the who did the number, she could
100 feet away.
I know, she couldn't hear anything, and it was freezing cold, and we're shouting back and forth. And I'm directing the camera shots, and we had to do all these close-ups and from so far away. I was always amazed that anything great came out of it. Not only did it come out great, it came out great.
Well, we were well rehearsed. We performed the number over 20 million times.
Yeah.
All over the state of Nebraska.
Yeah, but it truly was our first outdoor experience with it, yeah. And I can remember going, okay, Laurie, and she literally did it because she'd done it so many times. She was able to keep the tempo even though she could not hear the music. And I go, Laurie, okay, when I drop my hand, the music's starting, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Les was just counting it out.
I know.
Keep the beat.
Yeah, and we're just keeping time that far
yeah,
away.
yeah.
And I was directing the camera movements based on the music that we could hear, thank goodness. And when we all came together in the editing room and it sank up and her lips actually worked in time with the music.
Oh, it looked great.
It was amazing.
Polyester is his middle name. He's just to meet my Dacron daddy. P-L-A-S-T-I-C. Oh yeah, I want you to meet my Dacron daddy. Polyester is his middle name. He's just to meet my Dacron daddy. C-E-L-L-U-L-O-I-D. With styrofoam eyes and rubber thighs, canaculon hair, walks with a flare. Going spastic in the world of plastic, chemicals, clothing bags, big dresses and hats. You've got to meet my Dacron daddy, P-L-A-S-T-I-C. Oh yeah, with an elastic heart, an asbestos fart, and vinyl charm. Talks with his arms. Oh, I want you to meet the Dacron daddy. Polyester is his middle name. He's just to meet my Dacron daddy. P-L-A-S-T-I-C. Oh yeah, it's enough to make you blubber. Since you see so little rubber, knock me over with a feather. Plastic-coated rubber leather, like my ass with plexiglass. I want you to be the Dacron daddy. Polyester is his middle name. He's just to meet my Dacron daddy. P-L-A-S-T-I-C. I was about some fun on the linoleum.
Yes, they all loved me.
Yes, you were the star. And
Yes, I was.
And you were transformed right there.
Wow, was I ever.
Beefed up.
Yeah.
I was this big. I was that big.
That's pretty big. Oh, you've always been a big man in my eyes, Jerry.
Oh, you had a big man in your hand, too.
Okay. Sure. Got one handy?
See you after the show.
I'm getting the vapors.
Oh,
Jerry. I thought you retired.
You'll have to bury me.
I've always identified myself as the founding mother of Park Avenue Produce.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.